Welcome back to my channel. My name is Adrienne and today I'm going to be going over my spring TBR with you. So I decided to lean away from the monthly TBRs just because I cannot pick out everything I'm going to read in a month and stick to it. I like to change based on my mood, based on books that I see. So doing a seasonal TBR will give me a little more flexibility while also keeping me on track with things that I want to make sure that I'm picking up. In the month of February, I really hit the jackpot with sci-fi, and I want to continue reading sci-fi books, but I also now want to transition a bit into fantasy for the spring season. So I have a mix of sci-fi, fantasy, I've got a nonfiction, I've got a lot of things here that I plan to read throughout March, April, May. And then I'll also have some room to just pick up other things as I go. So first off, the one that I know for certain I will be reading, no matter what happens, is Dungeon Crawler Carl. So this is book 1, but I'm currently reading book 3, and I'll probably read books 4, 5, 6, 7, or a good amount of those during the spring season. This series is following Carl and Princess Donut, his talking cat, as we go through an intergalactic game show dungeon challenge. It's a literary RPG, and it's one of the best ones on the market that I've heard, at least. It's a mix of like Ready Player One and the Hunger Games, but just better and more fun and more intricate and more like an actual video game. But I can't imagine that I won't be listening to these books for the next few months. They are some of the best audiobooks that I've ever listened to, so I'd recommend it for you to check out. But I'll definitely be reading quite a few of those. And then carrying over from my February TBR, I didn't get a chance to read Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor quite yet. This is what the naked hardcover looks like. How cool is this? But this one is following a sci-fi author whose story starts to come to life and get weird and strange, and I've heard great things about it. I really want to read it, and after my successful sci-fi reading month, I'm looking forward to this even more, and I'll probably be reading this one pretty soon and hopefully loving it. Next, I have Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This one is one my sister keeps asking me to read. She said it's good for spring because of something about plants. So I'm intrigued by that. I am a plant girl myself. But this is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi scary book. I honestly don't know what it's about. I know it's really weird. I know it's people going through Area X. Is that what it's called? There's a really weird creature on the front. This is the beautiful new 10-year anniversary edition. And I just want to know what it's about. I've heard so many good things about it, but I still don't know what the plot is, so I'll find out soon and let you know. And then I do have a couple of book events on the calendar where the author is coming to a bookstore near me, so I want to read their books in preparation for that. So Tracy Deonn is coming in about a month. Actually, I think it's just a few weeks at this point. And her third book in this Legendborn trilogy is coming out called Oathbound. So I want to read Legendborn, and if I love it, read the second book, Bloodmarked. This is actually a YA fantasy series, urban fantasy, which has like knights at the round table, Arthurian magic. There's a secret society. It is set in college, and I hear that it's really fun. I haven't read YA in a while. I haven't enjoyed YA for quite some time, but I want to give these ones a try because I hear that they're really good, and I love hearing authors talk about their work, so obviously I'd like to know what she's talking about when I see her. So this one I'll definitely be reading in March. And then another author event coming up is Elle Cosimano. So Elle Cosimano is author of the Finlay Donovan series. The first book, Finlay Donovan is Killing It, follows our main character, Finlay, who is an author. She meets with her agent in a Panera Bread where she's talking about the plot of her next novel, which involves murder. Someone overhears her and thinks that she is like a hitman, so they hire her to kill their husband. And from there, Finlay's like an accidental hit woman and gets involved with the mafia, and she also starts to form relationships with the police and lawyers, and in one book she goes to the police academy. It's just like a silly time. She is a mom. She has a best friend, Vera, who helps her out. She also has some drama with her ex-husband. Like, it's fun silliness. I've read the first 3 books somehow. I don't know. I think I read all 3. They kind of blend together. But I want to read Millie Donovan Rolls the Dice, which is the 4th one, where she goes with Vera and I think her ex-husband and her ex-mother-in-law to Atlantic City. Why? I'm not sure. Are the children there too? I don't know. It'll be a good time. It's gonna be silly, but the new one's coming out soon, and I'm excited to see El Casamano talk about the series. And then over to some fantasy books. So I talked about I'm gonna read The Hobbit. I didn't read it yet. I am gonna read that in spring. But instead of talking about that more, I want to talk about another book that I plan on reading in that fantasy reading vlog, and that is Guards by Terry Pratchett. I've been saying I was going to read this for years and years, and I'm finally making it official that I'm going to pick it up. This is part of the many book Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. It is a funny fantasy series. I have read one book. I read the Christmas one with the Hogfather before, which was fun, but this is one of the most recommended entry points into the series. So I'm gonna pick this up. It's a book that has dragons and comedy, and I feel like I'm gonna love it. And it's just time to finally pick it up. And then more fantasy, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I'm so excited to read this. I really thought I would have read it last year, but I never got around to it. The second book is actually coming out in April, so I definitely want to read it before the sequel comes out. This is a fantasy world, but it is more of a mystery thriller storyline. We're following a detective and her assistant as they investigate a murder. And I've just heard that this is great, and I think it'll be good for fans of thrillers to dip their toe into fantasy. And then I made it a goal to read some of the most popular trending books that I'm interested in, like while they're still popular. And for that, I'm going to pick up The Will of the Many by James Islington. This fantasy novel has been transcending genres, I feel like. People who read any genre primarily are picking this up and loving the storyline in it. We're following someone who joins a magic school to investigate a murder, I think. And there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of big fantasy ideas. The magic in this world is will. The political leaders control the will of the people. So they gather their magic from their citizens. And that sounds interesting. So definitely hoping to read this one again. Heard so many great things. Also, I think the sequel is coming out this year, so I want to get ahead of the sequel. Next, I have a book that I've been highly anticipating. This is Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari. He wrote one of my favorite books of all time, Sapiens. So this is the nonfiction book, and this one in particular is a brief history of information networks from the Stone Age to AI. So Sapiens was obviously focusing on Homo sapiens and the history of humanity, and this one is more focused on information networks, which I don't know if I would pick this up normally, but the fact that he wrote it means I'm gonna read it. Also, love the pigeon cover. And then the final book I have on this planned TBR is The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. Another super popular book. This one follows a girl who works in a bookstore, and she comes across this book and she realizes that she can use it to travel through different doors. So she can open up the book and be transported to doors around the world. I love the concept of that. I've heard great things about it, and I think it's another like thriller focused in the genre. So a sci-fi urban fantasy book that has like a thriller feel to it, which is totally something that I'm interested in. So also, look how pretty that is. But I think that this one is going to be one that I love. I again am choosing books that I think I'm going to give 5 stars. Like, this feels like a 5-star stack to me, and I can't wait to get into them. I also, at some point, I've made the decision to read less actual thrillers, like mystery thrillers, this year, but I still want to read some. So if there are any like really good mystery thrillers that have come out recently, please let me know, because I feel like I don't have many on my radar besides like authors that I already love, but those books are coming out more so July and summertime. So I do want to read 1 or 2 thrillers just because I love those books so much. I just want to make sure I'm reading like the good ones. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. Or if you have any recommendations from like books you've seen that I have that you want to see me read, I'm definitely open to picking those up as well. So this is what I have planned so far. There's definitely plenty of room for me to pick up other things as I go. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you're planning on reading on your spring TBR, and I will see you again in another video very soon. Goodbye.